2025, it was supposed to be an on-risk year for crypto. I was completely wrong, guys. I'll stand up and I'll hold my hands up. I was completely wrong. So not just me, many others were wrong. 2025 should be a year of risk on. We've seen the presidential election. We had a crypto president that was going to bring through legislation and push crypto forward and drive this narrative to where we've wanted to drive it for years now. So is it a complete write-off in 2025? Will we actually get an alt season? I'm going to go over the macro charts on the weekly time frame. Not just one, guys. We're looking at Bitcoin, we're looking at Ethereum, we're looking at Bitcoin dominance, we're looking at the strength of the dollar, and then I'm going to look at indications to find out exactly whether we're likely to go risk on or risk off going into 2026, or whether alt season is completely cancelled and we're done for another 3 to 4 years. It's going to be an important one, guys. This is actually my thoughts as well as the analysis. So let's jump in. And we'll start with Bitcoin. It's currently trading at 86,831. And one thing that happened here was Bitcoin bounced at its 88.6% Fibonacci retracement number. That is the deep retracement. So we got a deep retracement. This is the elephant in the room. Elephant in the room sat at 75,204. So why is 75,204 the major level that we do need to hold if we do drop the 88.6? Because, guys, that is a confirmation that you've got a high probability that we're in a bear market. So once you drop the previous high or low, that is, my friends, a lower low. You would expect a high probability, putting in a lower high and a continuation to the downside. That is the bear case. So do I think the bear case is going to happen? Remember, I've zoomed out. This is the higher time frame, higher the time frame, higher the conviction. We're on the weekly. Each one of these candles represents 1 week of price action. So we zoom out. We look at the indicators and you can see we are massively on the higher time frame oversold, stochastics crossing over, and we're at 0.02 to 0.78. That is hugely oversold. Next thing, RSI coming down, we're at 35, oversold. So we're at a strong support, we're oversold, we're expecting a bounce. We need to look and identify how big this bounce is going to be once we get to an overbought level. So that's the first thing that we're looking for on Bitcoin, is how high can it get when we get to overbought on the stochastic, on the RSI. Next thing we're going to look at is the dominance. And you can see one thing. When Bitcoin sneezes, altcoins catch a cold. And one thing happened here. Bitcoin sneezed, altcoins didn't catch a cold. Dominance is coming down, and that's exactly what we want, because that shows that collectively altcoins are outperforming Bitcoin. After we've had the crypto capitulation, after we've had a 36% drop on Bitcoin, altcoins collectively are still pushing the dominance down. So we want a big drop in dominance, and that's what we're waiting for, a continuation down, a continuation down. One thing we can see, where Bitcoin was oversold, this is overbought. So that's showing we're at resistance, we're overbought, we're expecting to come down further. That is good for altcoins. So remember, guys, alt season 2025, we want a big drop all the way down, potentially 2026 now, big drop all the way down. And when we get a big drop in dominance, that confirms at alt season, that confirms at alt season, same as every other time. So the next thing we're going to look at is total three. Bitcoin dominance, overbought, looks like it needs to pull back. Bitcoin oversold, looks like it needs to push up. Total three. Now, remember, guys, my strategy, once we get a break and a close of the all-time high of total three, that is the time for me to scale out of my altcoins. We've been waiting patiently for this to happen. It hasn't happened yet, but we've been hovering by the highs. Even after the capitulation event, we're still hovering by the highs. Now, this is what's exciting me, the Russell 2000. We've been talking about the Russell 2000 for such a long time on this channel. It's trying to break out, guys. This is going to be the leading indicator. This is high risk stocks within the US. This is the US small cap 2000 index. And when this thing flies, it shows on risk is going into the market. And we've got confidence. We've got a big push. It's trying to push up. So over the next couple of weeks, if we do get a big push on the Russell 2000, it does break new highs. It does hold this support level. That is going to follow into total three. So Russell 2000 leads the way. Total three will follow, because total three represents high risk in crypto. So it is the macro bigger picture. You can see Ethereum. Ethereum's held its 61.8% retracement. Bitcoin has come all the way to its 88.6. That's showing Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin. And we can look at that on the Ethereum Bitcoin chart. You can see we're waiting to break out. We're still putting in a higher low, and we're still on for this half price Bitcoin. Anybody that's asking about the half price Bitcoin, I've done a video down here and I said, if you bought Ethereum at this price and you sold Ethereum at this price, that is the equivalent of buying a half price Bitcoin if you convert that Bitcoin, Ethereum into Bitcoin. So we're waiting for a breakout. Ethereum strong against Bitcoin. That's showing that the second biggest market cap leader within the crypto market is outperforming the biggest market cap leader. People are still further going down or going further down the risk curve. Now, we got this big drop on the S&P. That's followed by a recovery. And don't forget, this is the weekly. So we're getting a recovery on the S&P. When you get a recovery on the S&P, that's showing confidence in the market overall. So you can see USDT dominance. This is an important one because people are holding stable coins at the moment. People are holding because they are fearful. And we've got this a big resistance level. We've got pressure going downside. We've got a massively, massively, massively overbought RSI. We've got a massively overbought stochastic. This thing needs to fall. Remember, a weak dollar, a strong economy. We are looking for a weak dollar. We're looking for people to spend their stable coins and not hold their stable coins. So that's the dominance of USDT. We've got downwards pressure. We're expecting further downside, exactly the same as dominance. And this is the DXY. So this is outside of crypto. This is the dollar against a collective bag of currencies. When the dollar's weak, that shows markets are strong. So we've got resistance here, overbought, and we need to come down, we need to come down, and that is going to be strength in the market. So you can see we'll bring gold up as well. Gold looks like it's ready to break out. It's in a bull pennant here. If we break to the upside, expect a continuation of gold. And then the others chart, which is going to be the last one. Now, this is high risk. This is really high risk. So the others chart represents everything outside of the top 10 against Bitcoin. So this is really high risk. And what we're looking for is a breakout of the 50 weekly period moving average at 0.13 before we could see an acceleration up to this resistance point. Once we hold that as support, 0.145678, you'll get an acceleration up to the 200 daily moving average. So when we look at these charts collectively, we can see that there's not as much fear in the market as people think. We've potentially got catalysts coming up. We've got potentially a peace or a ceasefire coming up. We've potentially got interest rates coming down. So we've got macro conditions that are showing we have still got the opportunity to go on risk. The charts collectively are telling us that. That is exactly what I think, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think. I'll see you in the next one.